Welcome back to the second half of the Bobby Dupre Show, and of course, my sidekick, Mr. Andrew Bdthurs. I forgot to introduce you, but most people that watch the program, they know who you are, and they comment every now and then, I should consider something, but I mean, I'm just going to consider keeping you.
Keep me around. I'm okay with that.
On the death side, a person who coached at what was known at that time as the AIC, the Academy of the Immaculate Conception here in Opelousas, which is now Opelousas Catholic, OC. And I'm speaking of the death of Coach L.J. Raymond. And of course, he was a coach in Marksville and then here in Opelousas, and then went into Plaquemine and ended up in administrative work. He was a very good coach, had a great record, and I noticed with interest that, I read these obituaries, I noticed with interest that he had a number of, I guess, his former football players and some that remained friends with him over the years, and honorary. And I'm speaking of Bill Fadall, Kenneth Boanny, former judge here in Opelousas, Freddie Weibel, Opelousas, and Ray Delahousie of Opelousas.
Phil Bro as well.
I don't know Phil Bro. I underlined it, but I was really thinking of the name of Phil Prejean from Port Barre.
Right.
Really, I had a confusion there. But Coach Raymond, he really was close to huge man, 6'8", I would say at least. Just a big, jovial, good guy, and had a great coaching record and a good man. And so our sympathies on his recent death. Another person who was in Opelousas years ago, and I knew him well, was C.J. Broussard. He died recently and was buried this Sunday. He was 82 years old, and of course he was in Opelousas here for a number of years, and he worked for GMAC financing. That's where I remembered it. And of course, after that, he did a lot of volunteer work in the community and all. But the face I see right here is the same C.J. Broussard I remember.
He was married to one of the Zonbreckers from the Mowater area.
Right, and so I want to certainly offer sympathies because I knew several members of that particular family. And one of the gentlemen, they had his obituary in the paper for several days. And I'm speaking of Harold James Andre Como Sr. And I kept reading it. There had to be something in here that I could find a connection. Well, the connection is he was a retreat captain of Our Lady of the Oaks Retreat House, where you and I attend, in Grand Coteau for many years, and was a member of the board of directors. So to all of us that attend the retreat, certainly we lost a good long-time member of the retreat, and he did a lot of other community work. So he was married for 53 years to Adele Pavi Como. So Adele Pavi might well be from the Opelousas area, because many of the Pavis started out right here in Opelousas.
While you've commented about the retreat house, I want to remind everybody that our group, the springtime, we call it springtime, springtime retreat.
First weekend of March.
We're having our retreat. We go from Thursday night through Sunday at noontime. We're going to have our kickoff gumbo for this year's group on Monday. That's next Monday, the 17th, 6 p.m. over at Bobby's Outdoor Kitchen. Everybody knows, right there off Ducharme Lane. So if you want to come, you're interested in coming to retreat, or you've been a retreating, give me a call at 351-0732, and we'll hook you up, or just come by the gumbo. Give me a call. Let me know that you're coming so I get a good head count.
Did you invite Ed Jobert? You remember I gave you an address on Ed. I met him at the Elks Lodge. Of course, I've been knowing him, but I met him, and he said he'd be interested in learning a little bit more about the retreat movement.
I'll have to dig it up and make sure.
Make sure. We want to make sure. So, Ed, if you see the
give us a call. If you know Ed, make Ed call me, 351-0732.
Yeah, we'd love to have you. If we didn't invite you, we're doing it right now in the public.
Opelousas Garden Club is having their annual Ball Mosque. Now, it's a little different week this year. It's going to be on January 29th at the Opelousas Civic Center. Time is 6 p.m. The tickets are $30 for the whole pageant, or $10 for just the presentation. Everybody knows about Ball Mosque. It's that time of the year, and it's quick this year. So go by. Miss Clara Robichaud, thank you for sending it to us. And I saw Miss Priscilla Guitro, I think, who's also on the committee.
I see where State Senator Mike Michaud from the Lafayette area and a large Michaud family who have been known since the father, Mr. Louis Michaud, of doing a lot of community work on behalf of the communities that surround Acadiana here. And he is now chairman of the Catholic fundraising body known as Opus Christi Magnum. Well, that stands for Great Works of Christ. And this year they've netted $371,240, and a lot of it goes to the St. Joseph Shelter for Men. And of course, right now they've implemented their freeze plan, meaning no one is turned away when the shelter is at capacity. They're going to find
cold weather. Right.
So if you see someone or you know of someone that's having a tough time in life and they need a place, please see that they go there. Yep. And to all of the people who are generous and gave to this fund, I know that Senator Michaud deeply appreciates your help.
Joe Smith Furniture, you're looking for furniture, that is the place to go. And let me tell you, they got the sofa sets, they got the dining room sets, they've got the bedroom sets, it's all there. They got a mattress warehouse outlet on the same premises right there in Opelousas for you to go by at Joe Smith Furniture. Great deals right now. Same day delivery. I mean, if you go buy something in the morning, I can assure you that afternoon you better have some room to put it, because they're going to come in, they're going to put it in there. They're coming to you. Mr. Joe Smith and family, thank you all so much for being a sponsor. And how about one more right now? LHC Group, all your home health care needs. LHC Group can help you. And we're talking about the equipment with the special beds, the special oxygen type tanks. They can get the rehab people within your home. They also do sort of a interim care hospital over at Opelousas General Healthcare System South, where if you're not bad enough to need full-blown hospital work, you're rehabbing, maybe a broken hip, like my grandmother gets her services there with the rehab side through the Louisiana Healthcare Group. It's all about helping people.
On Sunday, January the 30th, that's the end of this month, beginning at 3 p.m. Well, actually at 2:30 p.m. a social will begin, and the actual event will begin at 3 p.m. And I'm speaking of the LSU Eunice Bingo Banquet, which is an annual event. And of course, Coach, I call him Coach.
Curtis Joubert.
Mayor Curtis Joubert.
Ambassador.
Is a real hard worker. Called me and got me to commit to buying some tickets. And Joe Fred, if you're listening, he committed you at the same time. He committed us to buying. And of course, we have a good reason to go this year, because Mel Didier, our high school coach here in Opelousas, and then later on went into Lafayette and coached baseball at SLI, USL probably by that time. This is the second annual. It is a fundraiser. There's a fee, and I don't see what the cost is, but it's reasonable. And Mel Didier, of course, is going to bring a lot of history of baseball. He is Mr. Baseball in America. He's worked for probably 8 or 10 of the various teams in the two leagues. And
currently with the Toronto Blue Jays organization.
Very, very well respected. And so I'm looking forward to seeing you there. If you have any. And then the entertainment part, they're going to have the Pine Leaf Boys.
Cool.
They are Grammy nominated, the Pine Leaf Boys.
Local band.
That's correct. So I'll try to remind you at least one more time.
Coach Jeff Willis, of course, they're so successful with the baseball program there.
They've done a good job.
Friends of Opelousas Library, Opelousas Eunice Library, are going to have their monthly Storytime event this Saturday, 10:30 a.m. Bring your little one there. They do arts and crafts and get a story reading. It's a great time. Come in from outside that cold weather.
I see where Sheriff Guitros and District Attorney Earl Taylor congratulate Parish Deputy Anthony Roberts on winning 3 gold medals at the Western Regional Police and Firefighters Games held recently in Nevada. This ain't right here in Acadiana.
Worldwide.
This is worldwide. Of course, I'd like to know how many of these medals he's accumulated over the years. What a great man. Does a great job of bringing out good things about Acadiana.
How about the La Table Française? The French Table of Orneville is going to happen at Steeple View Gallery in Orneville, 9 a.m. January 29th. You can call Miss Mavis Frugier, 754-7724.
Good morning, Miss Mavis, and all our friends over there in the Ironville area. What about the congresswoman that was shot, Miss Gifford,
yes, Ms. Giffords.
over in Tucson, Arizona?
Very bad thing. Looks like the young man was a disturbed young man, is what it comes out to be.
And it started with her. He attended a similar meeting to that she was holding. She was very, very active and staying in contact with her constituents. And she had held one very similar to the one where she was attacked and shot.
Just out in front of her campaign headquarters on a parking lot where everybody could come.
In 2007, he asked her a question which I think it was a left field, right field question. It was off the wall question. And she didn't answer it. And he wrote down some records and he spoke to his friends because one of his longtime friends said that he was still upset about her not answering that question. And well, the rest, of course, is history. 6 people were killed, including a federal judge, 9-year-old child that was very interested in politics. I think she had gotten elected to some little office in the grammar school
right.
that she attended, and had gone there with either a grandfather or grandmother. And the judge had just left a mass and went over there to thank her for something that I think he had said nice about her. So
right.
we just don't know where all of this will end. We used to think it's happening in foreign countries, but more and more it's occurring here. And so I hope that everybody just kind of cools down and maybe keeps some of that bad trash talk out of the airwaves. And of course, our little iPhones, go back to the iPhones. They tell you so much about the people. You can check,
look up anything about them. And some of it's good and most of it is good, but sometimes it's bad. So anyhow, we certainly hope that her recovery continues going in the progressive way. And you said something today that made sense. She was shot at very close range, and that possibly, as you mentioned, the bullet still had a lot of steam, so it went through rather than tumble up inside
and explode like
so
they're intended to.
It seems to have helped. You know, if you're going to get hit in the head, I mean, which is a devastating injury, it's amazing how well she's doing thus far. So
now, we're not talking about death here, but we're talking about announcing that Dr. George Bourgeois is closing his medical practice April the 12th, 2011. And of course, Dr. Bourgeois is so well known in our community, just a tremendous individual. And to he and the family, we want to wish you a successful retirement and enjoy yourselves. I know you've certainly earned it.
Bennish Supermarket, groceries. And Mr. Bennish says, come out from the cold and warm up at Mr. Bennish. And look, I go by there a couple times a week. I'm showing off. I'm wearing my little tight sweater today so I can show how skinny I'm getting, eating some of that fresh fruit from Mr. Bennish. You know, they got best of the best produce department. I'm always over there picking up some apples and some pears and some oranges, all that good stuff. They got some good iced tea that I pick up that's diet iced tea and some tomato juice, healthy. Go by, Bennish can help you out. And if you're looking for some rice and gravy, because on the weekends I splurge.
I've got something to add to that.
Go ahead.
After attending Mass in Washington with Father Nunez and our friends there, Vicky had promised my brother John that she'd make him a homemade soup. And she said, why don't we just drive right over to Bennish and pick up some of those fresh vegetables that Andrew's always talking about.
And some good soup meat. They got all that there.
They had all of that there. And it turned out delicious. Thank you, Vicky.
And don't forget, you can go right there to the little deli side. You can get plate dinners. But if you want to pick up a little bit of something, maybe you want to have, make that side dish easy for you to cook. You might be making the soup. You pick up a couple little side dishes to do. It's easy to go there. They got 7 days a week, good home style cooking at Mr. Bennish.
Thank y'all.
KSLOC on the other side of 3.
Cool, already.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about this.
Go ahead.
Mr. John T. Landry, a person that we've gotten to know well since we started this this capital improvement program fundraiser for the Our Lady of the Oaks Retreat House in Grand Coteau.